Hi guys, it's me, Jess. What's up? Happy New Year, you guys. I have no idea when I'm going to edit and post this, but as of right now, it is December 29th. It's actually 3 minutes to December 30th. I think it's early enough to start saying Happy New Year, right? Anyway, Happy New Year. I hope you guys had a nice Christmas, and I love y'all. We've been having Love Fest all week, and I love it. But yeah, I just want to say that I am thoroughly enjoying my time here in this similar community, and it's been a blast. So, what I want to do is just kind of talk to y'all for a minute. The Rich Aunt Sam did this a few months ago, weeks ago, months ago. It was, before. She just talked about like stuff with her characters in the story, and it was kind of like having a backstage pass to what's going on, and Let It Burn, Life of the Blackburns. And I saw that video and I loved it so much, and I was like, I would love to do a video like that where I just talk about my little story and my characters, but I'm like, I don't currently have anything to say. But she told me I could do a video like that whenever I get ready. So I got an idea yesterday, from Candy Chew Cotton. I don't know why I keep getting your name mixed up. I don't know. Candy gave me an idea on what I could say, so I'm gonna do that. So I've mentioned in passing, like in comments, that I think Bryce and Kenya are perfect for each other, but I never exactly say why, and I don't, because I know once I get started, I just won't stop. I'm gonna write a novel about them, so I'm doing a video. So yeah, I have like an outline of what I'm going to say, because I tried to record this before and it was so messy. So I was like, you need to get more organized. So, what I want to do is like talk about Bryce's past, where he comes from, and then reiterate Kenya's past and, what she's going through, where she comes from, what Bryce wanted, what Kenya is, and then why they work so well together. Okay. So Bryce, it hasn't been in the story yet, and I don't know if it will, but I know I've mentioned to some people in comments that, Bryce has very humble beginnings. If you recall the chapter, I don't really have chapters. What do you call my posts? Because it's not like a legit story. It's just whatever. If you recall the time when Rodney went home to talk to his mother, she lived in this very small house in this neighborhood full of very small houses. I don't think so. Bryce and his mother are cousins. Cousins? Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think they grew up like next door to each other or whatever, but I know they grew up really, really close. So Bryce grew up in a neighborhood similar to that, or maybe on the next corner, because that neighborhood had 2 blocks. So he could have lived around the corner from them. But whatever the case may be, Bryce comes from, I don't know, the south side of Del Sol Valley, wherever that is. I don't know. But yeah, he didn't grow up with money. He grew up very poor in a single parent household. He's very much a mama's boy, loves his mama. She is deceased, but he still loves his mama so much. Bryce knows his father, as in he's met him a few times and knows who he is, but they didn't have a relationship at all. So, he's pretty much dead to him. So yeah, that's where he comes from. So Bryce had this talent, he's always been an artist, even as a child. And, he used that to basically get out. He went to college. He graduated with honors from Brightchester. I think I'm like pro Brightchester because Nadia is pro Brightchester. And plus, the first school I played with when I got the pack was Foxbury, and I didn't like it at all. I don't like that school. It's so, well, whatever. I get off track real easy, y'all. Anyway, he went to college on scholarship, graduated with honors, and I'm pretty sure life didn't begin immediately as soon as he graduated college, but his life took off. He got famous. He's probably in several art galleries, whatever. He got his money. And, he wanted to settle down, marry a nice woman, have some nice kids, and, just do the whole family thing because he didn't have that, He wants what he didn't have. And, but hold on. That's Bryce's path. I'm trying to keep track of my little outline here because I'm getting ahead of myself already. So yeah, Bryce came from nothing. All right. Kenya also came from nothing. You guys might recall from several months ago that Kenya grew up in foster care. Her parents were very young when they had her. Well, I don't know if her father even knew about her, but her mother was very young when she was born. And for whatever reason, drugs, I don't know, or just because she was, young and broke, she decided to give, actually, foster care is not the same as being adopted. So her mother had to have raised her for a little bit because I think Kenya remembers her mother. So she probably, gave her up after she was born. Yeah, because otherwise, when you give your child up when they're born, they get adopted, right? Anyway, the child grew up in foster care. She went from home to home to home, never had stability, never had love, never had any support because, she didn't grow up in nice houses. A lot of the people that she lived with, they were in it for the money. They had a bunch of kids. That's how she met Jay, her foster brother. I imagine that, a lot of the people she lived with weren't nice. I have no problems believing some of them were abusive. Probably some physical, some emotional. But, Kenya didn't have a nice childhood at all. So that's her past. Pause on that. Bryce, he came from his past. He has his pain. And what Bryce wants is something completely different from what he had growing up. So, pretty much Bryce's thought process is, okay, this is my experience that I had, let's put that in an envelope, throw it away, and let's move forward into something new. Let's leave the past in the past. And so he actively tried to find someone who was not like him, someone who didn't have baggage and a painful past and, struggle or whatever. He wanted the nice trophy wife, someone who was fine, someone, who had degrees and had her own money and had her own clout, someone who didn't really need to lean on Bryce for anything, really. He wanted someone who spoke well, someone, like he wanted the trophy wife, someone that people can look at and be like, wow, she's all right, Bryce, So, that's who he went after. And, he actively, had on blinders and was looking for that woman. He didn't want anybody else because he wanted his experience to be his experience. put that in the past. Let's not think about, the struggle and, the money and the abandonment and all this, whatever. He wanted a brand new experience for his adult life and for his future kids. But, it didn't work out. He dated a lot of women. And plus, he was a lot like Rodney when he was young, young, good looking knucklehead, a rising star, new money, he ain't have it together. He didn't have it together at all. So he had to go through some things. He had to learn some lessons. And, so he matured a bit, started looking for a different type of quality woman. But, it still didn't happen. And, that's probably how he ended up on Eve's Bachelorette Challenge, because Eve is very much the type of woman that he was looking for. But that didn't work out either. So, he got kicked off the show. He went home, licked his wounds. Not very well, but he licked his wounds. And he probably was going to stop dating for a little while. But, you know what happens when you get famous from TV or the internet, you go home and everyone's like, like old girl showed up at his house, Siobhan. She showed up at his house trying to offer herself to him. I'm pretty sure he would have preferred to not get involved with anybody right away. And I don't think it happened right away, honestly. I mean, like in the story it did, but in the way I think about time in this game, he probably had some time to himself. But he met Kenya at that New Year's Eve party. A very chance, random meeting between those two. And she is not the type of woman he was looking for. She is the exact opposite of what he wanted. He wanted somebody polished. Kenya is not polished. Kenya has sass and attitude and swag and a big mouth. That woman, in my head, Kenya curses like a sailor. She has got all kinds of attitude. But in my previous simming community, I've written a lot of stories, you guys. A lot of stories. And I tend to refrain from cursing in real life. It's really hard, but I do my best. And that kind of spills over into my stories. I mean, not all my Sims have squeaky clean mouths, but a lot of them do. But, I was known as like the clean one. So I'm over here in Sembler now where, it's acceptable to be a little dirty, but I'm just not used to it. So, I tend to censor everybody still, but, maybe one day I'll let her rip. But for right now, she just has a lot of spunk. But she's rough. Kenya is rough and she's not polished. She speaks her mind and she tells him what the deal is and, not what Bryce wanted. And she has a past just like him. And he didn't want that because, he didn't want two broken people coming together trying to raise, a perfect family. That's just not what he wanted. But it's what he needed, though, obviously, because they just hit it off. True, it took them a while to get married, but, they got together kind of quickly and things escalated real quick. So I think that's why they work so well, is because, Kenya kind of came from nowhere. She was like a beautiful surprise for him and just kind of took him took him aback. And I think Bryce kind of likes, a woman with a smart mouth, somebody who's going to talk back to him and, whatever. I think Bryce likes that. Cameron would not have liked that. Him and Kenya would not have worked at all. That would have been fun to watch, though, but she had other plans. Well, the game had other plans because Kenya and Bryce were NPCs at that party, and they just started talking. They talked all night at that party. By the time I got to Bryce's house, after I got Cameron and Nadia together, they had a really, really healthy friendship. I was like, thanks for doing my work for me, you guys. She was calling him all the time. But yeah, so she is what he needed, but he tried to run from her. Not her specifically, but, run from that type of woman because, she reminds him of what he went through and what he is trying to, not that he's trying to forget where he came from because, he always respects his humble beginnings, but, that was something he went through. He wants to compartmentalize the experience and just keep it away and not really acknowledge it if he has to. Was that all I was supposed to say? Yeah, I think so. So, they work because they're similar enough to like have this connection, but their differences work as well. I think Kenya keeps Bryce grounded. Cause y'all know Bryce tends to, he's kind of like the person, who came from nothing, blew up, and then, never went back home. Doesn't invest in the community, like he, not that he forgot where he came from, but he would rather not remember. If that makes any sense, I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, but Kenya brings all that back. And she's like, whoa, buddy, this is not where you came from. You haven't always been here. You could easily go back to, the block. She keeps him straight. And as someone as arrogant and shady as Bryce, he really needs someone to just knock him off the horse sometimes. And Kenya is not afraid to do that at all. And I just love them. They're just so perfect for each other. And I'm really glad that, things that have developed in the story kind of brought all this together for me. And it's been really, really fun. So I think that's all I want to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And I hope to do another one soon. If y'all have any suggestions, let me know. But I can't think of anything right now. So Happy New Year again. Take care. And I'll see you guys next time.